Here's how you can improve your cycling performance with just 4 hours a week of cycling. If you're someone who's a keen cyclist like myself and wants to improve their cycling ability to cycle faster and recover quicker, then in today's video, I'm going to show you the exact method that I've used in order to improve my fitness gradually over the last 6 months. So you might be thinking as a cyclist that you need to be cycling 5 to 10 hours or plus a week in order to improve your fitness. You see professionals cycling miles and hours every week, and you think I need to be doing the same, when the exact opposite is true. You have to remember that they are professional athletes. They are cycling hours and hours and hours because of their job, and also the stress they need to put on the body in order to survive the Tour de France or other Grand Tours where they're going to be riding for days, and those days are very intense, but also they're riding big stages. So they're riding for hours on end. So they need to build up a big aerobic capacity, but also their lactate threshold in order to maintain that kind of pace that they do on every stage, day in, day out. Where for someone like ourselves, who is just an amateur cyclist like myself, who's enjoying weekend rides with their group on a Saturday, looking to challenge themselves with a sportif or the Étape or a triathlon once or twice a year, then you don't really need to be cycling as much as you think you do, because the key factors that you need to be focusing on are quality of sessions and maximizing your recovery period. So let me just explain on how I've been improving my cycling ability over the last 6 months just by cycling 4 hours a week. So 4 hours a week will be divided up into 4 key sessions for me. The first session will be a recovery spin, and this generally follows a weekend ride. So my weekend rides will tend to be 3 to 4 hours, around 100 kilometers most weekends. And this will be something that isn't always very regular. So this is an added bonus to my 4 hours that I will do consistently in the week, not part of my 4 hours that I do in the week. Because a lot of the time, I can't always get out every weekend with commitments around family, friends, loved ones, and other things going on in life. So to rely just on a weekend ride of 4 hours every weekend is not something that I can do. And I feel when you do that, and I've done that in the past, and you're just a weekend warrior, then most of the time your fitness never really progresses. And most of the time, which I experienced in the past, I was being dropped a lot come the end of the ride because I didn't have the aerobic capacity or the legs to be able to maintain that pace that all my colleagues were doing in order to keep with them for the whole duration of the ride. So cycling more consistently throughout the week and then using your weekend ride as a bonus is something that I've taken on board over the last 2 or 3 years. So what I do now is my Monday recovery session for an hour. This is really, really easy, averaging around 100 watts, making sure my heart rate is nice and low. And this is just spinning the legs, making sure I'm releasing any lactic acid in my muscles from the weekend ride. But even if I haven't done a weekend ride, I might have gone for a long walk or I've had a busy weekend on my feet. So this is just getting me back into the flow of training on a Monday. Then Tuesday, I'm going to pick a threshold session, lactate threshold session, a VO2 max session of some sort. And this is where I'll be working in zone 4, zone 5 for a period of time in intervals such as 10 minutes on, 2 or 3 minutes off, or other variations of that for a whole hour. And what this does, it just allows me to work past what I'm capable of doing at the moment. It allows me to push my FTP limits, push my VO2 max limits in order to slowly get used to pushing harder for a shorter period of time, increases my lactate threshold, so that way I'm progressing. This is one hard session that I do per week, and that's generally all you need. One really hard session per week in order to slowly improve your FTP and your VO2 max in order to progress. On a Wednesday, it would be a weight session, which will be another video for another time. Thursdays and Fridays, if not right on the weekend, just be back-to-back zone 2 sessions for an hour. So sitting in the mid zone 2, don't want to be at the higher end of your zone 2, and also more towards the lower end of your zone 2 when it comes to your heart rate and power. And I tend to focus predominantly on power as opposed to heart rate. This is my preference that I tend to work from. And that'll be 2 zone 2 sessions on top of the hard effort on a Tuesday and the recovery on a Monday. And just by doing that consistently week in, week out, I've seen a steady incline in terms of my aerobic base and my ability to push a bigger gear. We're just doing this simple process. So doing a consistent week in, week out session of 4 hours a week on the bike has allowed me to steadily increase my FTP, progress and consistently improve going forward. And for me, this fits in around my lifestyle. I get in the gym really early, I get it done before work, it frees up the rest of my day, doesn't interfere with any commitments in the evening around family, and it allows me to be consistent week in, week out. And also on top of that, my fatigue is managed really well. I'm not doing loads of zone 4 sessions where I'm pretty wiped out after a week of training and then I need a really easy week to recover. Zone 2 is keeping my heart rate down, so it's almost a recovery ride in zone 2. And then the hard effort would take me a day to recover from that one. But by the time the weekend is gone after that first week, then I'm generally back to feeling pretty good, ready for another week. And this is something I tend to subscribe for my clients as well, in order just to manage fatigue, improve recovery, and build consistency in the training plan so they feel they can be consistent week in, week out throughout the year. So instead of being a weekend warrior and trying to do this 4 hours once a week, focus on doing 4 hours over the course of 4 days in the week in order to get your body used to being consistent with training week in, week out, and then use those weekends as a bonus. So when the time comes again, you've already got a great base to work from, and that's only just going to skyrocket your fitness going forward for the next year and the events that you've got planned as well. So let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions, and let us know what your thoughts on just training 4 hours a week in order to improve your fitness. Is it something that you do, or is it something that you feel you could accommodate? And if you're enjoying the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.